Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a fantastic day and that the start of your new year has been nice and an easy transition. Today, I wanted to talk about relationship burnout and lack of intimacy. So, I did a post earlier on my Facebook feed, and you can go and check it out if you like, asking how people felt about the lack of intimacy both in and out of the bedroom, and if there was a lack of both, what would keep you in the relationship? And I got lots of really great answers. And if you'd like to go on and share yours, that would be fantastic as well. So the answers that I got, I think some people misunderstood and thought that I meant only physical intimacy and sex. And that's really, that's part of it. That's part of the equation. But there can be lots of reasons why there's a lack of intimacy in the bedroom. And that can be anything from, a medical condition or injury, a disease, or, some condition that makes it hard for physical intimacy. It can be hormonal imbalances, it can be medications, it can be related to your mental health. There can be so many different things that come into play that would affect physical intimacy. That said, there is other intimacy that is equally and maybe more important overall. Not that sex isn't important, and obviously we put a lot of emphasis on it, and a lot of, there's a lot of emotions around it and whatnot. But for true intimacy, intimacy that takes place inside and outside of the bedroom is about sharing. It's about exposing yourself in vulnerable ways to each other, sharing your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, your fears, your dreams, and, sharing physical space as well. But it's all of the little and big ways that we show each other that we care every day in our relationships. And without that, what is there? So if there's a lack of intimacy in the bedroom and there's a lack of intimacy outside the bedroom, what do we do? So, someone suggested that there can be a lack of intimacy inside the bedroom, and then the relationship could be more of a roommate situation. And I don't think that most people get into romantic relationships envisioning a roommate situation. So, because we can have roommate situations that are very fulfilling and, are good for our emotional health. However, that's not usually the reason why we share space with someone in a romantic relationship. So if it's come to that, I know that there's lots of people that will stay in a relationship as long as they're feeling that, friendship connection. And I understand that there's lots of, logistical reasons, there's lots of practical reasons why a person might stay in these situations. But I think it's important to remember that there's more to building a life together than just sharing space. So if you're lacking that emotional connection that comes with intimacy, that comes with emotional intimacy, then, that's a pretty big part of a relationship. And what this can do over time is it just erodes the overall relationship. So, like I said, there's lots of reasons why couples might not be able to engage in the physical acts of intimacy, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be working at creating that intimacy in other areas of their lives. And if you feel like you're just in a situation where you're more roommates than you are romantic partners, then you need to ask yourself if this is what you were wanting when you embarked on this relationship, and if this is fulfilling to you. And if it's not, then there are things that you can do to change the situation. So what can you do? I always suggest that you start with therapy, because if it's gotten to that point in your relationship where if you started out with a strong and fairly intimate relationship, and then over time it's just become less and less intimate, then there are steps that you can take to reconnect and rebuild that intimacy into your relationship, as long as both partners of course are engaged in that work. If you've found yourself in a relationship where you're both desperately unhappy with things, things have deteriorated to the point where there's a lack of intimacy, and the other partner is not willing to do the work, then it falls on you to do the work yourself. And the work that you do yourself is going to be different than the work that you would do together, of course, because maybe you're not looking to rebuild the relationship at that point. Maybe you're just looking to rebuild yourself and, take care of any wounds that have been created by this situation. So there are two different approaches. So one, you would be sort of doing the work with the intention of creating a better relationship for the two of you, and both of you are engaged. And then there might be other kinds of work that are separate, that are individual, that you need to do in order to figure out where you stand in the relationship, whether you stay, whether you leave, what it's doing to your emotional and mental health, that sort of thing. So there's different ways to approach it, and it's not necessarily a hopeless situation. It's just like anything in life. If it's worth having, it's worth working for. And so if you're willing to do that work, then it is fixable, as long as there's no abuse, either physical, mental, emotional abuse. There are ways to come back from the drift that a lot of couples can find themselves in. But again, it takes work. There's no magic pill. There's no easy solution. And even relationships that seem to be going well and seem to be solid, it's because they're doing the work. It's not by chance. They're actively working on their relationship. They're working on themselves, and they're working on their partnership. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're feeling desperately unhappy with the way things are going, then feel free to reach out. Let's chat. We'll figure out what the best game plan for you is to either get some clarity around the situation and how you want to proceed, or to help you to find ways to rebuild that connection. All of those things can be done in therapy, and sometimes we just need extra resources and extra help. And so, looking outside the relationship is not, admitting defeat. It's actually going to strengthen your relationship, or at least strengthen your own mental, emotional health. So I hope that helps, and I hope that you all have a fantastic day. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.